Welcome to Vampire Radio!
Hola, hola, hola. You are listening or watching Vampire Radio. Of course, I'm your hostess with the mostest, Shelly from Kelly. And I'm joined by the podcast dog herself, Minnie the Moocher. And oh my gosh, you guys, it is Friday. It is, last I saw, it was 10:35, so who knows what p.m. I said I was going to have a new episode up today. Long story short as I can make it, I am now recording the episode today, so it is on Friday, but I'm pretty damn sure that you're not going to see this until tomorrow, which is fine because I'm still here doing it with all of you fine people. Now, first of all, let's give props where props are due. Let's give props to and a shout out to Acid Wash with Vampire Radio, the official theme song here at Vampire Radio. Oh my gosh, you guys, it has been a week. It's been a couple weeks that it's been really gnarly, but this past week has been gnarly to the extreme, if that even makes sense. And I'm not really going to get into it right now because I thought to myself, okay, just get on the podcast and just talk about the day and like explain. And I'm like, dude, the last thing I want to do is relive this week and the stress, the spreading myself so thin, like to where I started making mistakes. So last Sunday, I did a whole day of shooting for my secret society and a bunch of other content. And when I was done, I was so depleted. First of all, no offense, but I did not want to shoot any content on Sunday. I wasn't feeling good. I was on under a lot of stress. I've been having lots of anxiety and panic attacks. So I've just been dealing with all of that. And you know what? Here's the thing. The way I look at it is this is just that season of me having to go through all this. So it's fine. So I'm just trying to ride the wave. But dude, it is really, really draining. So on Sunday, the last thing I wanted to do was come in here and shoot my sexy freaking content when I was feeling lousy. To be honest with you, I wasn't feeling good, mind, body, and soul. And that's not what I wanted to do. I felt depleted, but I knew I had to get it done because it's my job. So after pushing through and getting some really cute content, whether it was videos or it was photos, I was like, okay, God, I'm glad I did this. I'm glad that I did the shoot. I'm glad that I pushed through because at least I have some good content. I did my job, done. My week was so gnarly this week that when I was in a haze of I should have tapped out a long time ago and I just didn't. I just kept pushing forward. I accidentally deleted almost everything that I shot on Sunday by mistake. And I was just like, oh my gosh, dude, this freaking sucks because not only am I now missing and I have to reshoot all this content, but knowing what I went through on Sunday to push forward instead of just being like, oh, I'll just shoot it another day. And it's just all gone. I was like, oh, maybe if I do this. Oh, and then I would let it go. And oh, maybe if I do this, and then I would let it go. It's rough, but you know what? Such is life. Shabbat shalom. So I know that last week I mentioned to you guys that I had some pretty awesome adventures the weekend before. I went to the museum here in Los Angeles, and I also went to the butterfly exhibit. And after that, I went to one of my favorite breweries. And what else did I do? Oh, and I went to Knott's freaking berry farm. So the reason why I didn't really talk about it last week was because I wanted to share with you guys here on the show the vlogs that I have for them. So I was working on them earlier today, and let's just break them all down, shall we? So first, let's start off with the Natural History Museum. I love going there. You'll see why in this video, but and I even say this in the video, I made it a tradition a couple years ago of when I go to the Los Angeles butterfly exhibit that goes for a couple months here in Los Angeles. It's like at the tail end. I think actually it might be done now, but anyways, so it was at the tail end when I went, and afterwards I'll go to the museum, and I just love it. Growing up, from preschool to 6th grade, I went to Christian school. So and I had, my mom was always working, and when my parents were actually together, my dad was working as well. So they had a lot of cool programs for people like myself that had working parents, and we'd always go on field trips. That was the thing. So now as an adult, and being an adult and living in Los Angeles, in the Los Angeles area, it's been really cool to revisit the places that growing up when I was a kid really enchanted me and drew me towards Los Angeles and drew me towards not just Hollywood and all that, but the history that's here. It always enchanted me. It wasn't just all about like entertainment. It was, oh man, Los Angeles and SoCal and California as a whole. There's just so many stories there. You feel it when you're in the energy of it. So to me, going to the museum and it just brings me back to that time. And I think it's really important, at least for me, to reconnect with that part of me, but in a different way now. So let's check it out, the butterfly exhibit and the museum. Well, it's that time of year, you guessed it, to come to the butterfly exhibit here in LA. And you know, I'm always in theme. That's all you get for now because I want to be present and really embrace all of this. It's kind of hard when I'm vlogging. All right, next up, the museum. So it's like tradition when I come to see the butterflies, I have to go to the museum, duh. And why? How could I not? Special attachment to elephants, so this is one of my favorites. What's Cousin Jeffrey's favorite animal? The leopard. What else I can find. Oh my goodness. Oh, it's like Minnie when she snuggles up against me. Look, I don't know what the hell's going on with my lighting, but just deal with it because I have to. Anyways, so that was my little adventure, and I wish I got some stuff afterwards when I went to the brewery, but it just wasn't meant to be. And there was some stuff that went down on that. If you want to find all about that, I talk about it in the latest Shelly and SJ Smokeout, so make sure you check that out. So something that has taken me forever to do, and I don't know, I was gonna say, I don't know why, but you know why? You know why? I know why. Right here on Vampire Radio, when I'm losing my mind, I'm realizing that I barely got anything when I went to the LAX Fan Fest when I was there as far as content went. So I think I just put it in the back burner and forgot. So let's check out when I went to LAX Fan Fest. Not much, but it's a little something something. So Let's go check it out.
Well, I forgot my pink camera, so I have to use the phone today, but here at the LAX Fan Fest, Rudolph's Epic Props. They got them all, baby. And of course, well, little Minnie. Ew, the lighting in here is ugly. I forgot my face. Minnie. Oh, little sweetheart.
Cardona sold me a Ray one on card the other day.
I hate this lighting. So I just took my second dose of tincture. Let's see what happens. The worst lighting ever. There's this guy again.
See, I barely got anything. Isn't it so freaking sad? I think it's sad. But you know what? It's okay. Because if you tuned into last week's episode, I talked about how I had my different moments with different people and just realizing a lot of stuff. If you're a VIP, you know the real deal of what I was talking about. And I gained so much from the LAX Fan Fest, good, bad, and the ugly that was thrown at me. So it sucks that I don't have more of that documented. Not for nothing for me, but it is what it is. So at least I got that little bit. And that effing lighting was disgusting. I can't. I remember taking pictures with people and it was so difficult because it looked like there was like this haze and not in a cool way. It just, I don't know what. They need to fix the ventilation over there at the LAX Fan Fest. I don't think it's healthy for anybody. So, going back to last weekend, I also went to Knott's Berry Farm. I went to I had my first adventure at the museum and everything on Saturday, and on Sunday I went to Knott's Berry Farm. Now, if you've tuned into the Smokeout, you know I've talked about my adventures in Knott's Berry Farm. Here's the short version. So the short version is the first time I talked about my grievance with my experience at Knott's Berry Farm going back, it was a couple years ago. I went there, I was all gung-ho, and I had this really cute dress on, and I have one of my purses is one of those backpack purses, and because I always have to carry everything. You never know. I'm one of those people. You never know, so I always have a bunch of stuff in my purse. And the backpack was kind of hitching up the back of my skirt and I didn't realize it. So I ended up walking around for over an hour with my butt hanging out. And then someone finally said something. And it was one of those things that people kept I kept thinking, are these people staring at me? Are they laughing at me? There's no freaking way. It was such a thing where I was stuck in my head and I was thinking, dude, there's no way. Just no one cares. Like, just have fun. But I was just so ridden with anxiety and I was just like, I feel it. And then finally someone came up to me and they were like, your skirt's up in the back. And I was like, oh my gosh, I cannot. On with my day. Still had the backpack because I didn't realize that was what the problem was. And then the same thing started happening. And I thought these are probably the same people that were like, saw me before. They saw my ass. And I was walking around for a long time this time. And then I think it was the same chick came up to me and she said it happened again. She was like, it's your bag. And so that just really set the tone for the rest of my trip there, right? How could it not? And so I went to one of the little gift shops and this dude, he just was staring out that, oh my gosh, I wonder if that worked there. I was like, I wonder if he saw me out there with my ass hanging out. And then he comes up to me or when I was buying whatever I was, he goes, are you Shelly Martinez? And I was like, yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I hardly ever get recognized because, I have my little 15 minutes of fame. It's fine. So of course the day, and who knows if he probably didn't even see, but just the energy of it, right? I'm just like, oh my gosh. So the next time I went back, I ended up staying at a Motel 6 that was across the street because I wanted to bring Minnie with me. And I wanted to be able to, in between being at the park. Oh, P.S. I have an annual pass. So I wanted to be able to like walk her and let her go to the bathroom, feed her if she needed, whatever. Oh, there goes my camera being a little bitch. Overheating again. So I stayed at this Motel 6, right? Long story short, it was disgusting. It was the worst hotel I've ever stayed at. There was hairs in the bed. The neighbors were fighting all night long, and I thought, what if they're going to shoot through the wall or something? Because it sounded like that. It was infested with a bunch of people on drugs that live there, apparently. It was not, and then I grew up feeling not safe and around that kind of energy and vibe a lot. So it really triggered me. And the next day, it was really put a damper on the whole experience, you know? So this last time, which I'm about to show you, again, I barely got anything, but at least this time, spoiler alerts, I was having a good old time. I left Minnie at home with my sister Danielle, so I didn't have to worry about her. And so I didn't have to worry about the Motel 6, because here's the kicker. Knott's Berry Farm is on the same street, Beach Boulevard, as other touristy attraction type places like Medieval Times and the Pirates Dinner Adventure. Is the WAC Museum still there? I don't even know. I don't think it is. Is it? I gotta check it out. Maybe it is. If it is, I gotta go. But anyways, point is, and Disneyland's not too far away. So it's so annoying that effing Motel 6 is the only one in walking distance to Knott's Berry Farm that allows pets. And it sucks, at least at Disneyland when I go there. There is a hotel that I like to go to, and they allow pets, and it's walking distance. I mean, it takes like 12 minutes to walk there, but I'm fine with that. You know, just let Minnie out, make sure she's okay. So it's just really annoying because I love Knott's Berry Farm so much, and Danielle's not always available to watch Minnie, and I don't like to leave her at home by herself. I know, but that's just how I am. So anyways, let's check out Knott's Berry Farm. And the whole thing too, my friend Alan, it was his birthday like the week before, and so I wanted to meet up with him and to have a little late lunch with him and Metal Jesus. And I didn't get any of that. That makes me sad. But you know what? We were having a good time, and that's all that matters. I was living in the moment. So, hey, what do you want from me? There it is. Well, another trip to Knott's Berry Farm. And I barely got anything because I was just like living it. So there you have it. But this was the most positive trip that I've had since I started with my pass again, which has like been about a year. So yay, a successful trip. That's Berry Farm. I think I just needed to start to realize what works for me, and the way I did my trip today did. So next time, I'll vlog it and show you guys. Oh my gosh, my camera. I'm going to kick its butt. Why does it look like this now? Anyways, whatever. I guess when I say deal with it, I'm really talking to myself. So like I said, I didn't get much, but there it was. I just thought I'd share it with you guys. I thought it'd be kind of fun. And yeah, I'm glad that I'm starting to figure out my groove there at the Knott's Berry Farm, because even though it was a positive experience this time, I still feel that I haven't gotten the experience that I'm looking for. And you know what's interesting on that note? I feel the same way about Universal Studios. I've had a year pass there for many years now, and I don't know. I used to stream there back in the day at Moe's Tavern. Some of you old school people, old school Shelly watchers out there might remember that, but that was really awesome. And that's when I feel I was really getting the experience out of my past, is when I would do my live streams over there or do it at the city walk and stuff like that. But I don't know, like the last, I would say 3 or 4 years, it's just been really like a blur every time I go there, and very hectic, and I just got to refine my groove, I guess. So here's hoping. And here's the thing. They're going to get rid at Universal Studios here in Los Angeles, or Universal Studios Hollywood, I should say. They're getting rid of the Springfield there, the Simpsons area, in a couple years. And that makes me really sad. And I don't know if that's like my main attraction there, but maybe it's because I'm such a Simpsons dork that I just love going there so much that I spend most of my time in Springfield. Maybe part of my problem is back in the day when I felt like I was really utilizing Universal, I wasn't just staying in Springfield. So that's what it is. I got to get out of my Springfield comfort zone, I guess. So let's get into some music, shall we? All right, let's start off this block with Baja Moons by National Sweetheart. talk with Headlands by, again, National Sweetheart. We started with National Sweetheart. We ended with National Sweetheart. If you want to know who the rest was, well, you got to watch the show or just look in the description below. I have it all written out for you. Well, the time has come, people. You know what time it is. It's time to talk 90 Day Fiancé, The Last Resort. So I really thought that I was going to be able to rewatch episode 1 and do this really cute review for you guys, but that didn't happen. So instead, I'm going to give you guys my thoughts. So before coming into the Batcave and recording this episode with you guys, I saw a commercial for the Happily Ever After, which is the continuation of the 90 Day Fiancé people that have been 90 Day Fiancéing. And it was a clip with Gino and with Jasmine. Now, what's really interesting is, to me, I solely watched, I swear to God, my freaking camera. So anyways, with this weird hue, this orange hue that is me. The whole reason I was tuning into this season's Last Resort is because of Florian and Stacy. So I was always aware of Gino and Jasmine in the past, because of social media and following the 90 Day Fiancé franchise. And that's how I know them and Rob and Sophie. I've never seen any episodes of any shows that they've been on, any of the franchises, like whatever. I just based my feelings off this season's Last Resort. And it's so crazy and triggering to me. I was just talking to my friend about it the other day. And one of the things that happened to me, spoiler alert, is I wasn't really a fan of the Jasmine Gino. And she really came off of what the clips I'd see online as not positive vibes. So I'm watching The Last Resort and I'm getting to know them more and their dynamic and everything. I flipped and I was like, I started to really like Jasmine, and especially when I saw her defending other people and taking up for them, even if it was when no one else was saying anything or whatever. And I really relate to that because I've definitely stuck my nose where it didn't belong. Not because I was trying to be a meddlesome person, but it was because I was I was trying to stand up for people when no one else would, not even themselves. And I know I should stick to my point in case I get myself into lots of trouble in my career, throughout my career, because I'm sticking my nose where it doesn't belong. And I get that. But that's just how I am. It's not me trying to be a drama or anything like that. I'm just really seriously trying to defend someone and have someone's back, because I know how it feels to not have anyone have my back. It's something that's really triggering for me. And to this day, I feel people even really, really care for me. At the end of the day, when it comes down to it, they don't truly have my back. So when I have people's back, it's because I understand and I know how that feels. And I know I shouldn't do it. And it's something that I've worked on throughout the years. But that's why it's so triggering with this thing with Jasmine, because I realized when I was talking to my friend about it yesterday that I'm so upset that I felt kind of tricked, I guess, by her. And it's all because I gave her too much credit, because I saw her taking up for other people when no one else would. So in my life, when I've been around people, specifically women who I have some kind of static with, right? When I see the red flags, if I see them, okay, there's red flags, right? And then all of a sudden I see them stand up for somebody or standing up for what's right or whatever. Usually the things that aren't popular to voice, right? And especially if you're a woman. So that would make me kind of almost put those red flags and brush them under the rug a little bit. and then I open myself up, give them too much credit, and then end up getting hurt. So now I know why one of the reasons I'm so triggered by Jasmine, because she represents that wound within me. And I thought that was really interesting. So even though next week is going to be my full review on episode 1, I wanted to make note that going into it, I feel is really going to be interesting now that I've realized this connection and why it bothers me so much. And even though I know how it's all going to go down, I'm just seeing it through a different lens now. And I think it's going to be really fun. So stay tuned for 90 Day Fiancé, The Last Resort. All right, it is almost midnight now, so I guess I better go. I was going to keep this one a little shorter than before. We only had the one music break. I had so much other good music to share with you guys, but you know what? It just is what it is. I got to get to bed because tomorrow I have a lot of things to do and I got to get up early. So thank you guys so much for joining me. You're going to see this tomorrow on Saturday, so thank you for being patient. I'll be back next week on Friday, and until then, I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of your weekend. Stay tuned for all my updates on my social media. If you need to go, just go to shellymartinez.net/links. And until Friday, I'm Shelly from Cali. She's Minnie the Moocher, and we'll be smiling you guys later. Adios. Hurry back, and remember to bring your death certificates. Hurry back.
You a little bit nervous today?
Feel great.